Hello everyone, welcome to the Geoecologist. I am Dr. Krishnanand, and in this session we are going to learn about the fundamentals of geomagnetism. So the geomagnetism is basically the magnetic property of the earth. So how does earth behave like a magnet? So let's understand, but before we go ahead, please like and subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon for the updates.
So now let's learn about Earth's magnetic field, which is known as geomagnetism. So geo is Earth and it's magnetism. So how does this magnetic property of Earth occur? So this is what we are going to study. So Earth's magnetic field, also known as the geomagnetic field, is the magnetic field that extends from the Earth's interior. So remember, we have already learned about the interior structure of the Earth, that is in the previous lectures, and we learned that Earth's internal structure has lots of magnetic property. So those elements which have magnetic property are present within the Earth's core. So it interacts with the solar wind. This magnetic field interacts with solar wind, a stream of charged particles emanating from the sun. So remember, outside you have solar wind, and from Earth there is this Earth's geomagnetic field which keeps on interacting. So the magnetic field is generated by the electric currents due to the motion of convection currents of a mixture of molten iron and nickel in Earth's outer core. So remember, we have learned about the liquid core hypothesis, right? So Earth's outer core is in liquid state, right? And because we understand that there is a convectional currents made out of this liquid core, and we understand because of the rotation of the Earth, so Earth behaves like a geodynamo. So that is the whole idea, that these convectional currents are caused by heat escaping from the core. So a natural process, what we know, is the geodynamo. So let's elaborate it furthermore. So now let's understand what is this field, the Earth's magnetic field when we say. So this field is basically a region in which this body experiences that force. So suppose this is the body, so it will have a particular field. So that is this particular region where this force is being experienced. So that is important. So Earth's magnetic field is one such field, and gravitational fields determine how bodies with mass, remember gravity has this major factor that we talk about as mass. So with mass are attracted to each other. So that is one important thing. Then in electric field, what happens? Objects that have an electric charge are attracted or repelled from each other, right? So in gravitational field, what happens? The mass factor is there. So in electric field, charge factor is there. So magnetic fields determine how electric currents that contain moving electric charges exert a force on electric currents. So that is important here. Now, the Earth's global magnetic field is generated in its metallic core. Remember, Sial, Sima, Nephe, so nickel and iron is there. So remember, located nearly 3000 kilometers beneath the planet's surface. So that is important here now. The field has existed on Earth for at least 3.5 billion years. So now when we know about geological time scale that Earth originated about 4.6 billion years ago, the magnetic properties that we see today is now 3.5 billion years old. So for 100 billion years, what was happening? This was being formed. This magnetic property was being acquired, right, by the cooling of different objects that we understand in the internal structure of the Earth. And it offers clues about the other planets, stars, celestial bodies might have formed. Because the common source is there, origin is common from Big Bang. So when we study this, we also tend to understand how the other planets or the stars or other celestial bodies might have formed. So that is another important point. Then magnetic field is a crucial for understanding their history and internal structure of whom? Of these celestial bodies. And why is it so? Because as we said that this particular presence of magnetic field inside a body reveals that it also likely formed a metallic core that generated that field like Earth. So as we said, so the field is one of the few ways, remember, to remotely sense a metallic core buried so deep beneath a body's surface. So we don't have to go physically there. We can sense that field remotely. So that is important here. Now, the theory that explains this entire phenomena is known as dynamo theory. So this dynamo theory, or many times we also say geodynamo theory. So this is important. Now this word dynamo comes from this Greek origin, dynamis, basically meaning power. So this gravitational power is what we talk about in dynamo theory. So how this generation of Earth's magnetic field happens. So William Gilbert published his work The Magnet in 1600 Common Era. So almost 400 years old. So he concluded that Earth is magnetic and proposed the first hypothesis for the origin of this magnetism, and that was permanent magnetism, that is found in the lodestone. So remember, when you study NCERTs and we study the lodestone and its properties, the domains being aligned in the same direction for a magnetic property. So this is where it originates, in the work of William Gilbert. In 1919 again, Joseph Larmor proposed this dynamo might be generating the field. So that was again advanced from this particular concept of William Gilbert. So it was proposed that Earth was behaving like a dynamo in 1919. Then Nobel Prize winner Patrick Blackett. Now remember this name, Patrick Blackett did a series of experiments looking for fundamental relation between angular momentum and magnetic moment, but found none. So this was another attempt. Now, when we say who actually propounded or who is the father of this dynamo theory, remember this name, it's Walter M. Althusser, considered as father of presently accepted dynamo theory, or the geodynamo theory as we say. So as an explanation of Earth's magnetism, that we call as geomagnetism, right? Proposed that this magnetic field resulted from electric currents, the convectional currents that come from the fluid that is in motion beneath the Earth's surface. So that was important here, that is liquid core. So he revealed that history of Earth's magnetic field through pioneering the study of magnetic orientation of minerals in the rocks. So that was interesting. By learning the magnetic orientation of all those minerals, he learned and observed and finally propounded this theory of the geodynamo. So that is important in the work of Walter M. Althusser. So the crux of the matter in this dynamo theory is that the idea that a large dynamo or magnetic field generator exists within the Earth's outer core. That's what we know, that Earth's outer core is in liquid state, where liquid iron constantly moves as the planet cools, right? So this is moving, and that is what is creating these electric currents. And remember the movement of these electrons in the liquid because of this continuous motion. So through this process, what is happening? The energy of the moving fluid is converted into a magnetic field. So that is what is giving its magnetic property that has been sustained for billions of years, that we know. That we started about 3.5 billion years ago. So the statement of dynamo theory suggests that convection in the outer core, remember, convection is the process, right? So convection in the outer core combined with Coriolis effect, that is the effect of rotation of the Earth, gives rise to this self-sustaining geodynamo. So remember, this is that geodynamo theory of Earth's magnetic field in one sentence. Further, we can elaborate it to write a bigger answer if you are attempting geography as an optional paper and it is being asked as a question. So these are important things that we need to understand about mechanism. So that is, first thing is temperature. So outer core is about 4400 degrees C, inner core is about 6000 degrees C. So there is this temperature gradient as we see here, right? And as we know, Earth's outer core is fluid. So heat sources include what? The energy released from compression of the core and radioactivity of potassium, uranium, thorium, all these radioactive minerals. Then the differences in temperature, pressure and composition. Now these are three important points that we need to consider. Differences in, or the gradients that we understand, temperature, pressure and the composition, the density. These things matter, causing the convectional currents. So this flow of liquid iron generates electric currents as we have already discussed, and this produces magnetic field. So this is the full description if you want to elaborate this mechanism. So it results in self-sustaining loop That is the geodynamo property of Earth's magnetism. Now let's understand another thing, that is Earth's magnetosphere, as we learn about the atmosphere. Again, it will be coming in when we discuss the climatology part. But here, let's understand that this is Sun and this is our Earth. And this is its magnetic field, as we understand, right? So Earth's magnetic field is around this, right? So region above the ionosphere, remember, ionosphere is one of the layers in upper atmosphere. So the region above that is defined by the extent of Earth's magnetic field, and that is why it is known as magnetosphere. So it is connected to the outer space. Then protects the Earth from the charged particles of solar wind and cosmic rays. Remember, solar flares which are released by the sun. So how do we get protected? Because of this magnetosphere, because of this magnetic property of the Earth. It acts as a shield against all these solar flares. So that would otherwise strip away the upper atmosphere, including the ozone layer. So remember, Earth's magnetic field is one important shield that we have against the solar flares and other cosmic rays. So what we see is these many cosmic rays are kept out by Earth's magnetosphere, and that is why, remember, this magnetic property is important. Many times we understand this as well, that this is what is the heliosphere and this is what is the magnetosphere. And remember, all these cosmic rays either are protected by Sun's heliosphere or Earth's magnetosphere. So that is important. So heliosphere belongs to Sun and magnetosphere belongs to Earth. So these are the protective shields. Now, another important thing in this geomagnetism is a term called magnetopause. So the Earth's magnetic field, predominantly dipolar, as we know. So North Pole and South Pole, the magnetic poles, as we understand, that is dipolar, is distorted by the solar winds. So remember, solar winds keep coming. So the solar winds exert a pressure. However, it is kept away by the pressure of Earth's magnetic field, as we know. So this magnetopause is that particular area. Remember, magnetopause is that area where this pressure is balanced. Remember, the solar winds coming and being protected or balanced by this particular magnetosphere of the Earth. So this particular area is called magnetopause, the area of this pressure balance. So the turbulent magnetic region just outside the magnetopause is also known as magnetosheath. So remember, just outside this particular region, we have a turbulence region. That turbulence region is also known as magnetosheath. So two terms to remember here, magnetopause and magnetosheath. Apart from that, we also need to learn about this particular belt, which is called Van Allen radiation belt. You must have heard this name sometimes if you're fond of watching the National Geographic or Discovery for outer space and other documentaries. So this Van Allen radiation belt is important. The zone of energetic charged particles, most of which originate from the solar wind, that are captured by and held around Earth by its magnetic field. So what happens? Those charged particles coming from the sun or the solar wind are now captured by the gravity of the Earth, and they keep rotating around the Earth in a particular axis, and that particular belt is known as this Van Allen radiation belt. So it is a captured radiation from the solar wind by the gravitational field of the Earth. So there are two such concentric tire-shaped regions. Remember, one is the inner radiation belt and other is the outer radiation belt. That is important. So inner belt is 1 to 2 Earth radii, means so it's about 1 to 2 times the Earth's radius, and outer belt is about 4 to 7 Earth's radius. So it is about 4 to 7 times Earth radius. So that is important about Van Allen radiation belt. And at last, let's learn about some important things that is related to magnetic field of other objects in the solar system. So about Moon, it doesn't have a magnetic dipole. That is important to remember. Then Mercury, just 1.1% that of Earth's magnetic field. So remember, Mercury has just 1.1% of Earth's magnetic field. Then Mars, lack of significant magnetosphere. So Mars does not have a significant magnetosphere like our Earth. So Mars has a very thin atmosphere. Then Venus lacks in a magnetic field completely. Then Jupiter, largest magnetic field and a thick atmosphere in the entire solar system. So that is important about Jupiter. And about Saturn, the Saturn's magnetosphere is the second largest after Jupiter. So these are the facts to remember.
So now, when we have learned about the fundamentals of geomagnetism and how Earth behaves like a magnet, in the lectures to come, we are going to learn about the other topics of the physical geography. So stay tuned, stay safe, and take care.